You have to love waking up in the morning and finding out that you've been had. You've been scammed again. See new satellite imagery coming out. Infrared satellite images have shown that China and Russia are preparing for a major offensive. Not the offensive you may be thinking, however, more dangerous than that. You see, there's basic things that we need to survive. And it now appears that China and Russia are seizing control of those very items. Not being reported by mainstream media, no, the fear factories themselves want to keep you blinded to what's actually occurring. Because I guess they like when Biden gets blindsided, but maybe that's just all a part of the plan now, isn't it? So what we're about to cover for you will expose the real truth of what's happening. Things not seen before, nor expected, nor discussed. But so dangerous and so deadly to so many that we have no choice but to bring it to you today. Now, before we get started, if you haven't subscribed to the channel, please make sure you do that. We bring you the news, and we do that through what's called real journalism, a long-lost art. By researching and referencing and digging and staying on, we'll see you through this and make sure you're armed with the information that matters. Researched, referenced, old-school journalism the way it was meant to be. But now let's get back to this broadcast. So for me, the world of news is fairly simple. And the world of governing is fairly simple. It's not what you say, it's what you do. What they've been saying is Biden says to expect real food shortages due to Ukraine war. And you've seen many pundits stand up and echo the same sentiment. Now you have International Monetary Fund warning of the same thing, along with, of course, your UN, who always loves to fearmonger as much as possible. Biden's response to the food shortage, well, was this.
With regard to food shortage, yes, we did talk about food shortages. And it's going to be real. The price of these sanctions is not just imposed upon Russia.
Well, he mentioned sanctions, and we're going to circle back to that because it appears sanctions and tariffs are going to be two very different things. And it seems to always work in the favor of the Biden family when it comes to, well, one country in particular. That country is going to take center focus here shortly because always watch the bouncing ball. Well, the one they don't show you. It's very easy now to put the links on the Biden family and this country and how everything always seems to work in their favor, doesn't it? But don't worry, as far as food shortages are related, Biden has a can't even say it. Biden has a plan.
Less fertilizer is coming out of Russia. As a result, we're working with countries to think about natural solutions like manure and compost.
That's right. The plan is more green solutions, but we're really the only ones who deploy these green solutions, which always seem to have a way to slow everything down and not produce the results that they're intended to produce, or maybe they are intended to produce. Biden says there's nothing he can do to bring down gas or food prices in the near term. Once again, disagreeing with his own officials, but it gets far worse, of course, because the mainstream media has you focused on all the droughts across the country, some very, very real. Don't worry about water shortages, I guess. Let's not put plans into place to assure we have the two essentials we need to survive, food and water. No, let's focus on putting all our money in funding the Ukraine war rather than preserving those very essentials we need. And make sure the mainstream media is covering droughts across the country from Texas to Oklahoma. We can continue to go state by state and make sure we have America scared. Because the more scared they are, the more likely they'll be to accept our solutions. Solutions which will come into focus rather quickly. Now it appears China, of all people, who once reported, not that long ago, just a few months, China agricultural minister says winter wheat conditions could be the worst in history. Well, we've been had, haven't we? They publish that everywhere. China, sorry guys, we're in as bad a shape as you are. But I guess they fought back. Through technology in farming, fighting the 3 summers to win a bumper harvest. Suddenly, lo and behold, China has a bumper crop of wheat. And they use technology, cloud data, and whatever else you want to call it, and a little bit of authoritarian control, of course. Even if epidemic prevention, summer harvest must continue. We must not stop it ever. And you must not stop cropping. Well, nonetheless, it turns out, wow, somehow China ends up in a leadership position again. Amazing, isn't it? Now with the wheat that everybody else will need. While we're facing these droughts everywhere else, India was going to have a great crop, but then got hit with the drought right upon the worst timing possible and stops all exports, putting China in the driver's seat. But they're not the only one in the driver's seat, but they're going to help. Chinese envoy outlines propositions to address global food crisis once again, somehow making themselves appear the hero in a saga ongoing. Well, new satellite images go to support all of this. This food offensive that's going to be put upon the world, because there's only 2 countries in a position right now to help. You know who they are? China and Russia. Satellite gives clues about the coming global harvest. The analysis looked at information from satellite images, which can determine how healthy a plant is by how much infrared light the plant reflects back at satellite cameras. The company they're referring to, by the way, is Earth Daily Analytics. Now, you could tell by a company by going through some of their main pages, and you'll see Ukraine is of a major importance to this company. They use satellite images again to reflect back how the crop is looking, how healthy it is around the world. In the 2 countries, this is an old image showing China, again, had a great harvest in the 2021-2022 wheat production, which kind of flies in the face of their earlier admission that they were going to have a horrible harvest, but I guess we could digress from actual information, satellite images. Now the 139 you see around Italy and France, well, that's not going to be realized anymore because these satellite images now show a drought across France, showing they won't have the production, nor will the United States, according to current satellite imagery. But again, China and Russia are perfectly okay. Russia, who is plundering all the grain from Ukraine they can. These 2 partners that I've told you to watch out for are securing the global wheat supply. And guess what they'll do with it? Oh, they'll feed their people, of course, but everybody else will be beholden to them now to pay, well, I'm sure, astronomical prices, or maybe they'll use it to levy something else. With Biden in office, I wonder what that could be. I'll show you in a few seconds. All the transport routes that Russia is bringing grain in at ever-growing supplies. Cargo trains, full trucks waiting. This is a orchestrated offensive right now, happening before your very eyes. Picture after picture showing their grain storage sites, showing the lines of trucks waiting to get in, the trains waiting to offload. But remember what I told you. These 2 countries, now in control of way too much, projected rise and fall in the wheat harvest in select countries. Well, Russia and China and Canada is looking okay. As far as Germany, France, the United States, India, and Ukraine, well, once again, we're not looking so good. But Biden's plan was to put green energy behind everything. Oh, he had a secondary plan a little bit. He was going to help fund some loans for farmers, but the farmers aren't really sure what to do with it. I think they called it a fragmented plan. Biden administration wants to significantly boost some commodity loan rates for 2 years. But the farmers find the plan baffling and convoluted, which would be directly in line with everything Biden has announced. It's why ultimately, I guess, Democrats might not seize power, but what's the difference right now between the 2 parties? How many good guys are left out there? With no call to action and no plan in place, once again, China has been allowed to take the driver's seat. And what do we predict may happen if you had to take a guess? Biden's kind of already told you. Biden says White House could drop Trump-China tariffs to lower consumer prices. So with the administration, again, having no real plan in place, nor helping to fund technology to aid farmers in boosting crops like China somehow was able to figure out, it appears that once again, we've been backhanded, allowing China to go ahead and produce a bumper crop along with Russia, and who will end up paying the price for this again? Well, it'll be us. Always lagging behind now, and it becomes ever more apparent. And I'll continue to illustrate the very simple moving pieces that nobody will discuss nor organize for you. Because, my friends, these you can't look by. It's that simple. It's that easy. When you don't control your commodities, when you don't control nor try to improve the essential goods that we need to survive, I don't want to hear anything else from you, out of the U.S. government, out of the administration. And there's no one in the whole of government proposing any plan to assist with this, nor sitting in Senate or the House of Representatives screaming at the top of their lungs to help the American people. That's why I say it's the one-party system, right now designed to fail us because they're no longer a representative leadership. They're a self-interest-driven leadership, or in this case, leadership. It is helping to support China and Russia by inaction, which will soon result in action that will only go to rip more money from each of our pockets because they have no real solutions. But boy, they have executed one plan flawlessly, haven't they? And now satellite images go to show the very offensive being put upon us by Russia and China to control one of the biggest commodities that Americans enjoy every day. When you go to get your pizza, your donuts, you go to the bakery. My friends, Biden's done nothing to help us once again, but then again, no one in the whole of government has. And there's the evidence to prove it. I love you all. Can't thank you enough for being here today. I would love to bring you some good news, and I saw that in a comment yesterday. There's no good news. No, there is none. Look who's leading the country right now. Look whose administration officials have no idea what they're doing whatsoever. The diversity cabinet was more important than a qualified cabinet. And because of that, we're all suffering. And so I'll bring you good news as soon as there's some real change. In my opinion, I don't think anyone on either party should be reelected. Now, it needs to be rehashed entirely because these are the results that they and all these global leaders have provided for us. A big F. Fail after fail after fail. Maybe that was the intended consequence now again, wasn't it? As we've reported to you for so many years. I love you all. Can't thank you enough for being here today. Until next time, Godspeed and God bless. Justus Knight, signing out.